morning, good evening, or good afternoon, depending on what side of the pond you're on, and welcome to an extra special edition of Across the Pitch. My name is Phil Kennedy, and today I'm joined by an extra special guest from Phoenix Rising, who you may know if you're on the English side of the pond from his time with the Liverpool Academy, Yeovil Town, or Crew Alexandra. And now this year, he is the Phoenix Rising's leader in minutes played. Welcome to the show, Corey Whelan.
Thank you, mate. It's a pleasure. Thanks for having me on.
Well, we're really excited to have you on the show today. And I guess kind of my first question to you is, you came over to Phoenix Rising. It was about midway through last season. And at that time, you were with Liverpool Academy. You had been out on loan to Crew Alexandra. So was a move to the States something you had been looking for, or did it kind of catch you by surprise?
Yeah, it was obviously it was I was in a transition of obviously leaving a club in England, and I'd bounced back and forth a little bit in terms of like what I wanted to do. Is it still I wanted to play in England? Is it I wanted to maybe go to Europe? There was interest from Europe. And then obviously one day I got a call, and, that's how things, balls start rolling and stuff. And I got a call from, obviously, I've got a call from Bobby, and my agent got in touch with Bobby. And obviously I got a phone call from the manager, Rick, and obviously Peter Ramage, who was when he was around the club. And yeah, it was obviously something I didn't think about overnight, because I knew that, it was going to be a big step for me coming over to, a different country, a different climate, different environment, and new teammates and all that stuff. But, it was a challenge I wanted to take on, and I felt like it was the right time in my life to do it. And, I wanted to play football ultimately. I'd obviously been on a long layoff in terms of when I left Liverpool in May. And it got to a point where I was like, right, I nearly need to go. And, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to, basically go head on at it and, try something new. And that's what I did. And yeah, it's worked out for me. I've enjoyed my time, and I'm enjoying my time now playing, even though it's been a strange year. And yeah, it's just nice to be back on the pitch, really.
Well, absolutely. And now you made your first appearance for Phoenix Rising. It was back on August 31st of 2019. And you mentioned the climate here a minute ago. So I was at that game, and I know it was a warm night here in Phoenix. Was that the hardest adjustment for you coming over from Northern England?
Yeah, I think so. Obviously you hear of people talking about it before you arrive, and, be ready for the heat, be ready for, different type of, playing and stuff like that. You need to adapt your body to it. And you almost at first think, oh, it can't be that bad, because I've never been there before. And then when you get here, it becomes reality pretty quickly that like this is as bad as people said it was. And I definitely struggled for the first couple of weeks. I obviously come in one of the hottest months of the year, which didn't help either. But yeah, it was a big change for me, because I've been used to playing in, England see maybe some, if you're lucky, maybe 30 days of the year, maybe. And for it to be, sunny every day and, hot, high temperature and stuff like that, it is a lot different. But I'm getting there, I feel like my body now is match fit, and I feel like I've adapted, in one of the hottest summers, I believe, that Arizona's seen. So, I feel good about it.
I was just mentioning that to someone earlier today. So I've lived here my entire life, and I remember back in 1990 that the average high temperature in Phoenix during July was about 103, 104 degrees, and it was just 115 for 100 days in a row. And you guys are training in that. So what was it like having to just train in that day after day?
Obviously, I was coming off a bit of a layover. So I was coming off a bit of, holiday vacation mode, and I'd left Liverpool and I went to tour a few places to go on holiday with my family and friends. And, I felt like I'd kept myself in reasonable, good shape in that time. I was still in the gym and whatnot, but match fit's completely different to that. So, when I come over here, Phoenix, realised I needed to get my body to match fitness, and so did I. I knew I wasn't ready for 90 minutes when I first come. And, obviously I'd done work with Steve Fell, the fitness coach at the time, and yeah, I just felt like day in, day out, I was, gradually getting there and gradually getting stronger. And, it was nice for me to see as well. And when I finally got to the point where, the manager gave me the green light and was like, right, we're going to, play you this week. It was a nice moment for me because I'd spent, nearly best part of 4 months not playing a game, which was difficult as well. So, yeah, it was just nice. And I feel like training now day in, day out, my body has somewhat adapted to it. Will it always be hard? Yeah, it will, because, the heat's the heat. And like you say, you can live here for X amount of years, but when it's a hot day, it's still hot for everybody. So, yeah, but training day in, day out, I feel like I've adapted and my body's getting there, definitely.
Well, you've been an Ironman this year. Like I mentioned in the intro, you're leading the team in minutes played. And you had mostly been playing at the center back position. The last couple of games, you moved over to right back. And yesterday, during the media session, Coach Schantz, he mentioned that you play 5 different positions. And somebody had asked him what position he likes you best at. And he said you're so versatile and so good at every position that he couldn't pick one. So let me ask you, what's your favorite position to play at?
I get this question a lot, and I've just literally come off an interview just now. And people ask me this a lot, and it's something family always comment on. And they're like, oh, you're at an age of 22 now and you still don't know what your position is. And yeah, it's difficult for me to answer because I enjoy, the both positions I've played this year for Phoenix. I enjoy them both equally as much, and they present different challenges and different things. Right back entails you to getting, up the pitch and overlap a winger and cross and, get involved in that sense. And then centre back's a lot more about building out, starting attacks, 1v1 defending and uncomfortable moments and, stuff like that. So they both definitely have their different ways that you need to, approach the game. But, the last 2 games I played right back, I've really enjoyed it. And it's something that I haven't done for a long time because when I first Phoenix, it was, we're bringing you in as a right centre back and that's what we want you to be. And I was that for the best part of the year I've been at the club. But like I say, right back's nice. And, it's a position I enjoy playing, especially because I feel like my fitness levels at the minute are definitely able to play right back week in, week out and manage my body. And so, yeah, I've enjoyed them. Obviously, I enjoy centre back as well because that's where I've played, a lot of my minutes for Phoenix. And I feel like, I've progressed in terms of the last year in that position as well. But it's nice to have, an extra string to your bow. And if you're versatile and you can play in a number of positions, it just ultimately helps you, obviously, being selectable for the manager to choose you to play.
Yeah, and then it gives the manager some options too. And I think that you're definitely one of the key guys in Coach's system. And one of the things that the Coach Schantz mentions a lot is that he kind of bases the system that he's runs here a lot off of the Liverpool system and things that Jurgen Klopp does. So did you find that made it easier for you to kind of fit in once you got to Phoenix? Is that it was a similar system to what you were doing at the Liverpool Academy?
Yeah, definitely. It definitely made the transition easier because, I watched Phoenix before, obviously when I signed here, and I was obviously going back and forth a little bit with the visa. Obviously, I was watching the games of the weekend. I was staying up and watching the games and the lads were playing. And when I watched them, that was the first thing that really stood out to me is that they're a team that play on the front foot. They're a pressing team. And that was something that's been engraved in me from when I was little. And, Liverpool are on the front foot. They don't hold back. They press. They're aggressive. And so when I come to Phoenix, it was like, I was almost playing the same way, but in a different kit. So the transition was a lot easier. And like, when I was happy to see that, say you go into a system and it might take you a month or 2 to have to, adapt to playing a certain way. If a manager plays this style and you've been used to playing this, but with Phoenix, I didn't feel like it was like that. I felt like it was really similar to how I've been taught over the years.
So how did you initially get to the Liverpool Academy, just to kind of go back to your early career a little bit, because I know some folks are interested to know about that.
It was obviously I was on loan at Crewe. You mentioned it earlier, but that was actually the team I started at. So I was actually originally at Crewe's pre-academy. So I was there from, God knows, since I can remember, knee height, maybe like 4 or 5. I think our first time I went to Cruise pre-academy. As the years got on, we obviously started playing games and we were getting to like the age of 8 and 9. And, one day it was just a case of one of the head of recruitment at Crew was moving to Liverpool. And he was going to obviously a bigger and better job for himself. And he wanted to give me an opportunity to better my career. Even though I was at a young age, he obviously seen something in me that he thought, Liverpool would like this kid and they should look at him. So it was just a case of him being like, listen, when I come down, I'll be in touch with your parents and we want you to come along to Liverpool. And, funny enough, within 2 days, I'd signed for the club at the age of 9. And I think I was like 9 going on 10. I think I was nearly turning 10 actually. And within 2 days, I played in a game against Leeds and I scored a couple of goals. I was actually playing midfield at the time. I scored a couple of goals and Liverpool were like, yeah, we'll take him. We want him here. And yeah, the rest history. And I just went through the ages and continued to, get better as the years gone by. And, I was working with some of the best coaches, around the UK and Europe. So that definitely helped me in terms of my career. So that's how I ended up at Liverpool.
And so now I understand that you're from Chester, which, looking at the map, that's south of Liverpool, kind of near the Wales border. So is Liverpool who you grew up rooting for? Or was that Crew Alexandra? Or who do folks root for in that area?
Yeah, Liverpool. Obviously, it's been my club. My dad's a big Red and stuff. Yeah, it's always been Liverpool. Obviously, I spent a lot of my life living in Liverpool as well. So, yeah, it's just that's just been my club since I was younger. And, since the Champions League days of going the game with my dad and stuff, even when I was smaller, that's the memories I've got of Anfield growing up and being at the game with my dad. And, yeah, so Liverpool's always been my club. And obviously when I got the opportunity to go and play for them, even though at a young age I was just enjoying football at that point. I didn't have any stresses. I was just going out every day and it was like playing with your mates in the park. It was a similar thing. And instead you had the Liverpool kit on. That's how much we used to just enjoy the game. And then obviously as the years gone by, I was fortunate enough to get to, the back end of what you call under 23 football now. And I got a little bit of a taste of training with the first team over the years, which was nice and obviously helped me as well in terms of experience. So, yeah, I look back at my time there and it was an overall great experience.
Yeah, we follow a lot of clubs in that area, especially, Accrington Stanley, which is a little bit up the road from Liverpool, obviously, but a lot of Liverpool connections there. And like we mentioned, Joe Maguire is the guy that's there now that you played with at the Liverpool Academy. But something you mentioned there kind of caught my ear is something that I hear from everybody from Liverpool is that, playing football growing up in the Liverpool area, it's just a way of life. If you get out of school, the first thing you do is you get your football, and if you can't find a pitch with a net, you're kicking your football against the wall. And it sounds like that's kind of how things were for you growing up.
Yeah, definitely. Whenever there was a ball, there was Corey when I was growing up. That was just the way it was. And, I didn't live in a big posh area or, didn't have loads of things to do. I wasn't like, my mum and dad would never allow me to just stay inside and be lazy and sit on a computer game. And so, yeah, they were very, strict in terms of listen, you go out with your mates and you kick a football around. And, that's all we wanted to do, really. We just wanted to be outside to as late as possible. And, they were the days I remember still so clearly now is the days you just, you got 6 or 7 of you and you go and play a game of knockout at the park and your mum would be screaming at you at all hours of the night trying to get you in. You're screaming back one last game. And yeah, so that was all the memories I had growing up was just literally we just used to go out the same 6 or 7 guys every day after school and yeah, we'd be kicking a ball out there for hours on end.
That's great. I just love hearing those stories and kind of coming back around to what's going on now and with Phoenix Rising. Obviously, we're coming to what we call the stretch run here with the final few regular season games. You guys have really gotten things turned around in the last couple matches against Las Vegas, but you have San Diego coming up this weekend, which is another tough defensive team. So I kind of wondered, what's your focus going into the San Diego game this weekend, and what are you been working on in training and things like that?
Yeah, it's San Diego, obviously a team we've played already this season, and we know their strengths and we know their weaknesses, and we go into, detail on video in terms of, through the week, we try and figure out what we need to stop in terms of what they've got and ultimately what we can do to them. Like, it is about us. We make it about us. It's not about what San Diego bring. It's about what we bring on the evening. And, if it was anything like Friday evening or anything like we played them last time, I think, that's the same energy we've got to bring to this week. And we know it's a big week. If we win this game, it relaxes things. It takes a little bit of, another little bit off your shoulders, a little bit more weight off your shoulders. And you can look forward then to another 2 home games and another away game against San Diego afterwards. But yeah, listen, we know Saturday's going to be tough. And, at the end of the day, San Diego are fighting for their lives as well. They want to be in the playoffs and they feel like, it's their first year as an outfit. And, if they can get to the playoffs and push, then it'll be a really positive year for them. So, with LA winning last night and stuff, they're probably looking at it thinking they probably need 3 points on Saturday against us. But, we want the 3 points as well. So it will make for a competitive game. And, I'm sure if we play our style and the way we've been imposing it in the past 2 weeks, I'm sure we'll get the 3 points.
Well, kind of going off of that, one of the things that Coach Schantz talked about on Tuesday during the media session was kind of weighing the value of these last few games and once you have clinched the playoffs and whether, to kind of go all out and get that home field advantage before the playoffs, or maybe to get some guys some rest, because I know you guys have, I think it's a Wednesday, Saturday to finish off the season. So as important as the home field advantage has been to the club throughout this year, as a player, are you someone that really wants to chase that home field advantage, or are you just about, let's get into the tournament, it doesn't matter where we play, and we're ready to take a win?
Yeah, obviously, we all play the game to win football matches. That's ultimately what we do. We judge ourselves off winning. We judge ourselves off trophies and silverware, and so yes, of course, we want to be the best team in the West. We want to, get the most points. We set all kinds of records last year as an organisation. So yeah, obviously we want home advantage, and we want to win. We're not just a team that are going to settle for winning 2 out of the 4 games, and we made the playoffs, so we've done all right. We want to push ourselves because I feel like that's the way the group is, and we want to win all 4 games. 3 of them are at home, and we're expected to get 3 points at home. We're expected to get 3 points on the road. Don't get me wrong, but especially when we're playing in our stadium in front of now a minority of our fans, we want to bring something back to them. And they've had a difficult year not being able to watch us for a number of months and stuff. So it was nice to see them back in the stadium on Friday, and I thought we delivered, and it's just about doing that again on Saturday, and we want to win all the 4 games that are left to play.
Yeah, how big of a boost was that to have fans back at the stand?
Yeah, it was. It was nice because, something I've definitely not experienced over the years in my professional career, especially, is playing in front of nobody. And, it's strange for a lot of the lads because you're used to having fans there. And, some players are different. Some players, the fans don't give them an extra motivation. They've got to motivate themselves in the way they're playing, and everybody, gets up for a game in a different way. But I feel like, me personally, it helps me with people being there because you're not only trying to impress the coach and staff or, find your way into the team for the following week. You're there to impress the people that have paid money to come and watch you as well. So, yeah, for me, having the fans there and having noise in the stadium is, it's an added boost for me. And yeah, it was nice to see the fans back there on Friday.
Yeah, it really was amazing because it was about, I think 15% of the fans that would be there on a normal week, but it's certainly, you wouldn't know it based on the amount of the noise and, the Red Fury and the Banditos. They just do such a great job making noise for you guys out there. Just kind of one last thing I wanted to mention to you, and this is a stat that I like to look at, and I always kind of like to pull out a stat the player might not know about themselves. And I noticed, like I said earlier, that you're leading the club in minutes played. The other thing I noticed, and I think this is an especially big stat for a defender, is with a plus 25 rating. You're currently leading the team in plus minus as well. So that means you're really getting the job done on both ends of the pitch. Is that something you guys pay attention to at all?
Yeah, it's football for me is about numbers, and that's ultimately where you're judged, whether that's the amount of clean sheets as a defender, or the amount of blocks, or the amount of saves as a goalkeeper, the amount of assists as a midfielder and a winger, and goals for the forward and midfielders as well. I feel like that's where you're judged, and numbers do help, and it's definitely something people look at. Of course, they look at stats. You see people comparing Messi and Ronaldo all the time. That's all stat based. So people are obviously, that's what they look at, especially if they don't go to the games. They'll tune into, they'll go online and see how people have done and how many passes they've completed, or, people really look into that. As a player personally, it's not something I've always been interested in a great deal. I prefer to watch my overall game back on, my MacBook and really see how I've done and, pick bones out of the performance and whatnot. But yeah, stats are important. It's not something I look at all the time. I'm sure it is wingers. I'm sure the wingers look at stats and who's winning and leading on goals and assists and stuff. But for a defender, ultimately, I know I've done a good job if I go out there and I feel good about myself and I've kept a clean sheet. That's the main thing for me, and that's what I'm in the team to do, to help the team win games. So, yeah, it's nice to be, most minutes played, I suppose, because it means that I've been trusted over the past 12 games, and hopefully that will continue going into playoffs. So that's nice to know that I'm leading minutes played, and I feel good in myself, and I feel like I'm ready to finish the season now.
Yeah, it's a bit of a cliche term in football when they say, first man on the match sheet. But if you're leading the team in minutes played, that certainly means you're one of, if not the first man on the match sheet every day. And that certainly says that you're getting the job done. And I don't want to take up too much more of your time today, Corey, because I know you got a busy week getting ready for the game here on Saturday. But we do have one fun question that we kind of like to finish up with. It's something that it started off as a joke with some of our listeners in England, because hot and spicy foods are not nearly as big a thing in England as they are over here.
Yeah.
But we, of course, like to put hot jalapeno peppers on our pepperoni pizza. And I wondered if you had tried that yet, or if that was something that you like to try if you had.
I'll be totally honest, I'm not a big spice guy. I'm not. I literally despise spice. I don't have spicy food, I don't think, ever. And, I've tried it a few times in England, I think, but it's not something that I don't enjoy eating it. I just feel like I'm constantly needing to drink water and try and cool my mouth down. And yeah, it's not something that I do. I don't do it back home, and I haven't done it since I've been at America. You can ask the guys that have been to dinner with me. I'm a plain Jane. Everything's plain with a little bit of sauce on it, but it won't be spicy in any way because I just don't do spice. I'm okay with sour. I can do sour things. I can eat lemons and whatnot, and I can do the whole sour, but with spice with me is just a no. Yeah, unfortunately. I'd love to be able to. I've always said that, people say some of the nicest tasting food has a spice to it and a little bit of a kick to it as well, but it's just not something that interests me. And I've got loads of different foods that I enjoy eating that aren't spicy. So yeah, that's where I lie with spice, I'm afraid.
Well, we'll say you are going to Venezia's Pizza. What would you order on your pizza then?
On my pizza, I'd probably go ham and pepperoni, to be honest.
Ham and pepperoni, all right.
Yeah, it's something I did. That's what I'll get back home if I've had a game and I'm getting Domino's back home. I'll definitely order pepperoni and ham. I'll also get the chicken wings from Domino's back home as well. So yeah, that's probably what I'd order on my pizza. I mean, I've switched up a few times, but I will say one thing: people that think pineapple exists on a pizza are wrong. I feel like it's pineapple for me. Pineapple for me should not be on a pizza.
Darnell about that, because he said he's all about the pineapple.
Who said that?
Darnell King.
I'll be having words with him tomorrow morning. I'm sorry, but pineapple for me does not exist on a pizza. Pineapple's a fruit, and a fruit that should stay a fruit. It shouldn't be mixed with pizza for me. But again, until I try it, I suppose I can't knock it loads, but I don't think it'll be something I'm trying in the near future anyway, to be honest.
Well, it seems like partners in defense, but you won't be sharing a pizza together.
No, we won't be seeing eye to eye on the pizza situation, unfortunately. But yeah, we can fullback partners, we can stay. But in terms of sharing a pizza, we'll leave that for another day, I think.
Well, Corey, I really appreciate your time, and I wish you good luck here on Saturday and for the rest of the season. And before we wrap up, did you have anything that I hadn't asked you about that you want to make sure we went over?
No, not at all. I've enjoyed the questions you've asked. Them, some really in-depth questions that leave me with answers I've got to give, and I've enjoyed every minute of the interview. It's my pleasure, and any time that I'm available, I'll be happy to speak to you guys again coming towards playoffs. And I appreciate. Thanks for wishing me luck on Saturday. Hopefully, we'll get the 3 points.
Well, we're looking forward to 3 points, and I've definitely enjoyed having you on, and we would love to have you on again in the future. And I will be out there to root you on Saturday, and
Thank you. I appreciate
looking forward to the playoff.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Cheers.
Top man. Thank you.